Most times, we learn big lessons according to what we have been through. The tough situations and the unbelievable hard moments that we experience make us who we are. It is said that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. This man was thrown into an ocean with his friends. They were abandoned to die there alone. He spent a week in the ocean and he was scared of what would end his life. The sharks or other creatures, hunger, coldness, and even more. Among his friends, he is the only one that managed to survive. Well, this is his story. He is called Shomari Suberi and he was born in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. He was a small-scale trader that worked for a small amount of money. His friends were rich and when they would meet up, they would be driving and he was not able to afford to buy a car for himself. He started thinking of ways in which he could be able to get his own car because it is what he wanted to achieve with his brother. They wanted to go into the cargo shipping business, but it was not easy for them. One day, his uncle who lived in Mozambique called him. He said that he wanted to start sending vehicles, then Shomari Subeli will be managing them while looking for clients to rent them as well. They later planned that he was supposed to go to Mozambique so that they could talk and start this business. Shomari Subeli did not at all have the money and he could not afford transport there. He started working so that he could earn it. He started selling machines that were called viewmasters. These were used by especially Muslims to view in Makkah during the special dates of the Islam calendar. One day, he met a man from Mozambique who told him that if this business was taken there, he would make a lot of money. He decided to buy a lot of items while saving money. He then decided to board a ship and then go to Mozambique and sell what he had there and also to meet his uncle who had called him. He met some Tanzanian men on the ship and they became friends. The ocean was full of a lot of storm which always pushed them back. For the 8 days they were traveling, they ran out of food. Well, he had traveled with a big luggage full of viewmasters and cigarettes. Some of the passengers noticed this. They told him to give up his luggage and if he refused, they were going to throw him off the ship into the ocean. When they arrived to Mozambique, things were different from what he ever expected. People were not friendly at all. Everything that he had come to trade was left on the ship after he was threatened to be killed. They were happy to see each other and they were supposed to start doing business, but this too did not work out. His uncle failed to get money. Mari Subeli's luggage was also stolen. Life for them was hard and this is when they decided to board a ship and go back to Dar es Salaam. This was not easy at all because they did not have money and they had to jump on one of the ships that was heading there, but they had to do this illegally without anyone seeing them. Well, before sneaking into a ship, they had recognized one that was from Dar es Salaam. They were sure that it was where it was heading. A few hours later, someone came to spray insecticides to the seeds that were being transported. He warned them and said that this medicine was very dangerous. They were very scared and they thought that it was a trap to catch them once they come out. They said that this medicine was so deadly and it would easily kill them. According to him, he says that the idea of sneaking into the ship wasn't with them alone. There were about 5 people hiding in the cargo section and soon the first person came out. They were in a dilemma because they did not know what to do. Shomari Subeli decided to follow him and they were taken out and nothing was done to them. They got out of the cargo section and what they saw outside was shocking. They were very far from Dar es Salaam and Mozambique as well. They were wrong because the ship was heading to South Africa and not Dar es Salaam. After a short while, they saw a small boat approaching. It was the police. They arrested all these men that sneaked into the ship. They were taken to prison, and 3 months later, they were taken for trial. They were found guilty of crossing borders illegally. They were sentenced to 4 months in prison, and they served 7 months altogether. In October 1993 is when they were deported back home to Dar es Salaam. After a month there, life was still hard for them. They failed to get a job, and they decided to risk their lives again and give it another shot. This time, when they planned on going, they also agreed to leave a big distance between them. They did this so that they wouldn't be caught together. If one gets in trouble, the other will find a way to escape. This is how they planned it, and they successfully got to the ship. Shomali Suberi was in front. He entered the ship, but while his uncle was coming, he was caught before he got far. He had nothing else to do but to move forward without looking back. This is exactly what he did. He got into the ship, and he was so sad that his uncle was left behind, but he waited for it to take off. Before the ship started sailing, they always had a policy of first searching for people who had sneaked into the ship illegally. They started searching and searching, but they did not find him. He was hiding on top of the entry door, and he was not found, and the ship took off. He then kept on hiding there during the journey, but he was later found. He was undressed, and he was taken to go and start working. Due to the overworking, glasses used to break and cut his arms, but he had no other option to do rather than keep working, or else he was scared that he would lose his life. Later, he was taken to the captain of the ship. When he got there, he asked the captain for a job. He was given a chance to work in the ship, and they gave him uniform just like any other workers. It took a few weeks, and they go to South Africa. He was told to get off the ship, but he asked the captain if he could stay because he wanted to go abroad and start working there, and South Africa was not at all his plan. The captain told him to step out of the ship and gave him $20. He got to South Africa, a country that he could hardly communicate with anyone because he could not speak English, and neither could he speak Zulu, a language that is locally used in South Africa. He spent the little money that he had on food until it was all done. He also made a few friends in South Africa, and they suffered and struggled for weeks, but they were dying of hunger, and they were supposed to keep hiding because due to the national elections that were going to happen the following month, all foreigners without travel documents were being arrested. At some point, life was not at all possible anymore. He had his 2 new friends, and they finally decided to find a ship and go back to their home country before they died here. Obviously, they did not have money at all. They had to illegally sneak into one of the ships that was heading to Tanzania. He and his friend saw a ship, and they bravely went to enter. There were people standing on its entry. When he looked close, he realized that these were faces that he knew. He noticed that this was the ship that brought him to South Africa when he was coming from Tanzania. He told them that he had an appointment with the captain, but he was lying. As for his friends, they were told to go back to where they came from, and they were not allowed to enter the ship. When he got in, he moved into the cargo section to hide again. When he got there, he had someone calling him by his name. He was surprised only to realize that it was his uncle that he left caught in Dar es Salaam. They were very happy to meet again, and soon the ship was on its way. When they started talking to each other, they were caught. They were taken and locked up in a room and beaten till morning. They were brought out. They knew that after being tortured, they were going to be killed. They were told to sit down and remove their clothes. They were thrown into the middle of the ocean and the ship left, leaving them there. Now they knew that this was it. They were scared and they started calling on each other's name to hear if they were still alive. After 2 days in the water without food or help, his friends were very tired because they had become very weak due to the beatings that they endured. He says that at this moment they started talking about how they loved and missed their family because they knew that they were going to die. At that point, I became a Christian. I really started praying and praying from the bottom of my heart. We were in the middle of the ocean and we had 0 chances to survive. I kept on having faith, though I did not know where it was coming from. I kept on praying more and more and more. Later, due to hunger and a lot of coldness, his friends started freezing to death. They were dying one after another and they were floating away. He says that this was the last time that he ever saw their bodies. He was also dying because now it had been a week and they were still in the ocean without help. At that moment, he says that he did not even have energy to cry. He put up his hand and called on God to save him. He was the last person alive. Fortunately, a ship saw him from a distance and came to his rescue. He says that he was almost dead by the time they got to him. He was later given food, but it was so painful to eat because he had developed serious wounds in his mouth and belly. He was given a room and well taken care of by the white people that were sailing on that ship. When he was able to talk, he asked them where the ship was heading. They said that it was going to Dar es Salaam, and this sounded like a dream come true. After some days, they got to Dar es Salaam. Before he got off the ship, he was given a pen and paper to write the story of what had happened to him, and he did. After then, he was shown videos that they had been filming him from the moment that he was picked up from the ocean. He was given some money and clothes to go back home and start a new life. He immediately went to the police station to report the ship that had tortured them and killed all his friends. The ship was traced, but it was not found. From that day onwards, Shomari Suberi swore to never think about going to the ocean ever again. He started doing a local trading business just like he was doing before. He accepted to live a simple and normal life ever since then. Share his story to the rest of the world. Thank you for watching. My name is Prince. This is Afrimax English. Do not forget to subscribe.